Alright, here is the final figure that I got from the Target that I discovered. This is the one that is very close to my neighborhood. It is Studio Series Core Class Arcee. Now, as we all know, in Studio Series, the thing that they prioritize most is robot mode scaling. That's why she came out as a core class, because in her robot mode, she's barely bigger than a human in the upcoming movie. Like, I actually saw her robot mode standing next to Wheeljack as a van, and she like could barely put her head over his roof. I think there are some people that might actually be that tall. And on top of that, since it's a movie toy, the second thing that's prioritized is accuracy to the vehicle mode. So we aren't gifted with the whole there was no vehicle mode, so just go ahead and do whatever you want that we got for the Bumblebee movie RC. So, this is what we got. And I also would like to mention that there was something of a bit of drama when I got this figure. Okay, you're not going to believe this. Apparently, this is meant to be online exclusive for Target. When I went into that Target, I found it had a phenomenally well-stocked Transformers section, like better stocked than any toy department I'd ever seen for the past 2 years. And when I saw this RC along with a whole bunch of others on the pegs, I took one and took it to pay, only to find that it didn't want to ring up. And when the employee scanned it, it said that it was a Target Plus item, something that you could only order from online and was not meant to actually be carried in stores. Why is this online exclusive? It's an $8 toy. Online exclusives should be like huge, expensive collector figures, not these things. This is a tiny little thing that you're meant to just buy for kids. Is that why this figure was so hard to find? I essentially got it by accident because apparently whoever stocks the shells probably just took all the Transformers cases out and put it on the pegs by accident. Lucky me. I mean, why would I go online to order this thing and have to pay shipping for it? I suppose if it was in the back room, it's the thing where you order it online for an in-store pickup, and then you go to the store to get it and they have it for you. But why go through that extra step for such a cheap little figure? I would understand if it was for a masterpiece or a model kit, which is kind of fragile and you wouldn't want to put in the shelves. But oh no, wait, that particular Target totally had a whole bunch of model kits just sitting on its shelves. It makes no sense. I can only hope that it was some kind of error. That it got miscategorized by their computer or something. Because for this to be an online exclusive thing, nah, that just doesn't make any sense. The back of the box doesn't really feature too much. There's no bio description or anything, just a picture of the figure in both robot and vehicle mode. And, that's Studio Series for you. So, let's get this RC out of the box. So here is RC out of the box, and part of her packaging is also the backdrop. I kind of wish that they would stop poking holes in these things to accommodate all the ties that hold her down. But, I think this is a scene from the trailer. It's that curved road where she's holding on to Wheeljack's side as she's using her little wheels as rollerblades. And, it's a little thing. Since the movie's not out yet, this is really the only thing we can associate her with so far. But, this is a somewhat decent little RC figure. It's not the best, but it's hardly bad. Despite how tiny it is, I really like that head sculpt. It actually looks a little better than the overly greebly head sculpt from the Bumblebee movie RC. I mean, there's that thing on the top for, plastic stretching, but, that's functionality, not part of the official sculpting. And, I like to think that these little things coming out of her hair loops are like little pigtails. She has little tiny pigtails that's coming out. I think it's adorable. There's also a pretty decent thing. They have her little headlights picked out. Headlights, haha. Her midriff is painted in nice black with a little bit of greeble in there. And, she has the red and the white and the pink in all the right places. So, she, You know, it is Studio Series, so number one is the make sure the scaling between the robot mode is okay. That's why she's so tiny, because Arcee in this upcoming movie is actually relatively tiny. She's almost like if she is barely bigger than a person. Like I was under the impression that even relatively short Transformers were over 10 feet tall, but I guess when you're a motorcycle, you just get to be tiny. She's almost a GoBot. Let's see. I don't like the way her Kibble is carried. This is not the most attractive way to keep Kibble. I'll get on this later, but the wheels and the heels, that is big. I know why they're like this. They are like this so that you can swing them down like this, and then you can kind of like bend Arcee's knees this way. And now you have her I'm running on my wheels thing from that trailer moment. It kind of gives her stilt legs, but it is kind of, you know, it's capturing that look. So you have your Arcee doing her wheel gimmick thing. So it's actually kind of cool that your toy can do this gimmick. Although, like, I wish there was some way that they could have found a way to make this stand. Like, I guess if I move this back a little. Like, oh nope. It only goes back that far. Yeah, like this is for playing, but there's no way to actually display this if you don't have an external stand. Also, this hinge here, it's not very strong. Like, you want to keep the wheel up against her back, because I believe in the movie she does actually have a wheel on her back that is accurate to her model in the show. I think, in fact, it might even be that the wheel is like this, but that sticks out too much. I like if you roll it behind her, then it kind of creates like a halo. But yeah, it's not the best. I kind of wish that they had done something here. Like, if they, like, in the movie, she has like little things on her back. Like these little things are just kind of put into her silhouette. Like, where's her box? Let me get her box. If you look at her artwork, she's supposed to have like panels on her back, reminiscent of the backpack that the Arcee figures always have. But, you know, like, they're not present here. Like, if this could have split in half and then rotated up to be around the wheel, then that totally could have captured the look. I mean, is it that the parts count wasn't there? Like, they didn't have that little bit of budget to just modify this just that little bit extra? I mean, oh yeah, think about it. Think about something. Oh yeah, they did it for Revenge of the Fallen Knockout. Remember this toy? I actually do have one of these, but it's buried in storage right now. I already dug out the Arcee figure, so I didn't want to go through the trouble of getting this thing out too. But they totally managed to do the transformation scheme such that the headlight and windscreen portion split open to make details on the chest. They honestly couldn't do the same thing except rotate it around to the back to be like Arcee's little backpack thing. I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility. I mean, the parts count is there. This toy is about the same size and costs the same. I mean, I guess, yeah, like, budgets are shrinking, but that may be the reason, but I'd hardly call that an excuse. So, yeah, I mean, here's a 20-year-old toy that kind of did this transformation better. So yeah, a toy from like what? When did Revenge of the Fallen come out? 2008, 2009, like sometime around then. A toy from back then was able to accommodate that aspect of the engineering, but this modern day figure can't do that. That's kind of an irritant. I do not like that. Oop. There we go. Back to regular standing on feet. She has these hinges that are for transformation, but they also allow her to T-pose. Otherwise, her shoulder has a ball joint here. If you feel that sets her too low, like her arm is too far away from her neck, then you can use the hinge as the shoulder joint instead, and it still kind of works. She has a ball jointed elbow, which gives her a bicep swivel. All the joints on mine are nice and tight, except this one. Like, I feel like even when I walked away from the figure like this, and when I walked back about 2 hours later, I found it was like that. I feel like this hinge is so weak, gravity can pull it down. I guess you can take the wheel off, and then, but even if you take the wheel off, it actually makes it worse, because now this sticks out even more. Like, putting the wheel in at least gives it an excuse to be there, so let's go ahead and put that back on. Yeah, so like, yeah, like, you can't fold it up any more than this, even if you took the wheel off. I really wish, like, there is an upgrade kit that you can get. I saw it from a guy on YouTube, but the link for where you can buy the upgrade kit no longer works. If the upgrade kit becomes available again, I will make the modification and showcase it in another video, but for now, she's stuck looking like this. She has a waist joint, which, you know, it's a little bit weird because her wheel is not attached to her waist joint, so like it's not a backpack, it's like junk in the trunk. It's attached to her butt instead of her back. It's kind of weird. Ball jointed hips, which have a lot of range. Interesting greeble sculpt in there. And her knee, which gets a 90-degree bend. And then there's this hinge here for transformation, which you can do the fold her wheel out if you want. So all in all, it's actually not a terrible figure. It's she has a decent amount of paintwork. Her sculpt is good, and her posability is good. The only problem I have is that she's carrying her Kibble in a relatively unattractive way, and that she's a little bit small. So let's bring in a comparison. I'm not going to compare her to Studio Series, the Bumblebee Studio Series yet. Let's bring out a blast from the past, the original Energon Arcee. So this is an Energon Arcee that was available at a similar price point and size scale. And like, I don't know, like, I feel like the original toy carries the Kibble a little bit better. Maybe it's because the wheels are up here on the back where they're more out of the way and they aren't making the legs look like a huge, you know, a huge thing. Like, and the funny thing is, the front of the vehicle, like, it's basically in the same place, but because it doesn't stick out this far on a stem, it's actually more convincing to buy it as, like, a dress. So, like I can actually go with this better than I go with this. But yeah, like, I just wanted to bring up, like, again, like, remember when I showed that picture of Knockout? Knockout was basically this figure, but with, like, ball joints in the elbows so that the arms had a more natural range. And, yeah, like, they could have just recreated Knockout, but reconfigured it a little bit so that, these things ended up here. But, you know, I don't know. Like, the thing is, this isn't the only RC toy. Like, there are some RC toys that suck, but there's one of the weaponizers. It's going to be one of the gimmick toys for the kids, but it's a pretty decent looking RC figure that's going to have her Kibble in a different place. Let's call up a picture of that. And here is the Beast Alliance weaponizer one. As far as I'm aware, it isn't out in stores yet, but she looks pretty decent. Her articulation looks like it works. Her legs are not covered with that gigantic wheel. Although it does seem that she has a more significant backpack. I'm going to have to wait until I see other reviews or get this one in hand myself, because I'm not sure if moving all the Kibble up onto her back, which would make her similar to the Energon Arcee, is a better move or not. But, you know, it's kind of a unique situation where we actually get to see how both ways that this is done. Like, are we going to put the extra wheels on her back, or are we going to put them on her shins? So this is going to be one of the few times we have a relatively comparable toy that does both. The motorcycle mode for it looks rather similar to this deluxe. I mean, if anything, I'd say it looks even more like Energon Arcee, but that's just, you know, exactly what I was saying before. But I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait until I can get this thing in hand. But we'll be able to judge which one did it better. So yeah. So yeah, like I'm wondering if that figure will be more aesthetically pleasing. So speaking of aesthetically pleasing, let's bring in our Studio Series, the deluxe version. And As you can see, like, there is a significant size difference, even though this RC was not very big for a deluxe. But yeah, like, when we get up close and personally see their faces, like, you can see, like, yeah, focus. You can see what I was talking about, how this new RC's face is a little softer and not quite as greebly. I definitely do like it better. But, you know, like, everything else, like this figure, like, again, it's like, she even still has her wheels in the same place, but they aren't so massively gigantic back there. In fact, they're physically the same size wheels, even though this figure is half the size. That's hilarious. But you know what? Yeah, I get it. I get it. This is a toy that just had to look like a really cool robot that they put in the beginning, and they were free to just focus on that without having to worry about what the vehicle looked like. Well, this one did have to focus on what the vehicle looked like. So, I think this has gone on long enough. Let's actually take a look at what that vehicle looks like. Okay, truth be told, the transformation on this figure is very, very, very similar to the Energon Arcee's transformation. I think literally, like, the legs fold up the same way, the arms fold up the same way, the windscreen folds up the same way. I think literally the only difference between these two figures is where the wheels end up. Here, the wheels are separated from the feet so they can end up on the shoulders, while here, the wheels attach to the feet, and that's the only difference. I mean, look. You see how RC's head is right there in front of her back tire? That's the same place that RC's head is on the Energon figure. Like, the transformation scheme is like 99% identical. Well, 95. The wheel being different places, the big thing. But like, wow, that's really, really, really similar. The motorcycle mode has the wheels touch the ground, it has clearance, you can roll it back and forth pretty nicely. Thing is, it will not stand unless you use the gun, which goes in like this and makes a kickstand for her. It's a little bit awkward because you got to get both of the legs to line up perfectly. Now she has a kickstand, but I think the kickstand needs to be a little bit longer because it barely stands. Hold on, let me bring a flatter surface in. There we go. Now she stands. So yeah, this works at this size scale. I'm actually really amazed. Like, I've been wanting Hasbro to recreate the like, to recreate this toy like the way that they did for Override Prime. I wanted them to also make a new version of Energon Arcee, like, just without that stupid Energon chip gimmick, so we can get rid of this giant belly button and, you know, maybe make these hinges a little bit smoother and give her better arms. But, like, this is pretty much that. Like I said, aside from where the wheels end up, the figure transforms almost identically. Just, like, instead of making it a movie-style figure, make it Energon style, and there you go. So yeah, it's a very cute, functional little motorcycle mode, and I'm really genuinely surprised at just how similar it is to freak. When did that movie come out? Like 2000. When was the Energon Arcee toy out? Like 2003, 2004? Like a 20-year-old figure almost. But yeah, it's a decent little toy. I did not think it was going to be as good as it was. It's actually quite good. If you can find these things, pick one up. Although I am still curious as to how that Weaponizer RC is going to turn out. The Weaponizer that has the Cheetor sword, not the one that has the armor. Because I already know the armor one's crappy. Like, it doesn't even have knees, and the proportions are way off, and the motorcycle mode doesn't even look good. Like, that thing is pure gimmick, so yeah. So yeah, that's RC. Thank you all for watching this video, and this is Wake Angel 2001 signing off.